In the last episode, we talked about one of Indian cricket's greatest glory days that somehow hardly anybody saw coming. In today's episode, on number 7 in this countdown, we're going to talk about yet another glory day, but one which looked like it was almost destined to happen. And yet, it was only when it eventually happened that the world realized the enormity of it all. Yes, we are talking today about the 2011 World Cup win, India's only ICC trophy win on home soil till date. A win that the country had waited 28 long years for. A win that finally gave Sachin Tendulkar the trophy he had desperately been trying to win for Team India. And those, I think, are some of the reasons why this World Cup victory occupies position number 7 on our countdown to the top. So then, time to begin yet another episode on India's Top 25. When in 1987 the World Cup came to India for the first time, the team started the tournament as defending champions, and it looked like a fairly decent campaign until they came against the sweeping Graham Gooch in the semi-final. 9 years later, it was a somewhat similar story, but this time, the way that campaign ended in Kolkata left a bitter taste in the mouth. And therefore in 2011, when the World Cup returned to the subcontinent, there was a little bit of nervousness. The team looked largely solid on paper, though under the leadership of MS Dhoni, especially given conditions at home. But if the previous World Cups had taught anything at all, it was that no matter how strong your team is, if it doesn't turn up on the day that matters, it just doesn't matter. For MS Dhoni and his team, there was another challenge, the massive challenge of expectations. In the years after he had taken over, MS Dhoni, in the company of coach Gary Kirsten, had turned India into a very strong unit across formats. The 2007 World T20 win had already made Dhoni the second Indian captain to win an ICC trophy, and his subsequent feats as a leader made everyone believe that he was the man who could end India's long wait for their second World Cup title. And to be fair, the team had all the resources as well to bring home the trophy, something that seemed to make everybody certain of 2011 being India's year. So wherever the players went, where everybody went, that was all that people were talking about. They were met with a sea of expectations. But it wasn't going to be easy. World Cups are never easy, for the simple fact that after a few easy matches, they eventually bring the best against the best. A major chunk of this Indian team had experienced this firsthand in 2003, remember, when despite proving themselves to be better than most of the teams, they fell short against the eventual champions Australia. Sehwag, Yuvraj, Zaheer, Harbhajan, along with Tendulkar, had all realized, therefore, they need to be at their best throughout the length of this tournament. Of course, it took a lot of preparation to reach there, not only on the field but off the field too. I remember Paddy Upton was with the team at that time, talking about how they use visualization sessions with the players leading up to the tournament. And then there was Tendulkar, remember, telling Yuvraj that when India needs him, he will be there. Yuvraj himself visualized playing a match-winning knock against Australia in the final, something he eventually did, but in a knockout encounter against them, without knowing that deep inside his body was fighting another battle. But while India did make it to the semis, just like they had in 87 and 96, so did Pakistan under their talismanic captain Shahid Afridi. Remember, India had enjoyed an immaculate record in World Cups against Pakistan until this point. So could they extend it in Mohali and make it to the final? A man who'd been part of all World Cup wins against Pakistan and yet had never laid his hands on the trophy was Sachin Tendulkar. This match presented a golden opportunity to beat Pakistan in a World Cup match again and make it to the final. And so, Sachin Tendulkar playing his 5th and final World Cup match against Pakistan with heads of state, political royalty, everyone there just stood up like he had throughout the tournament. It wasn't quite like the knock that he had enthralled the world with in 2003, but it was a knock that eventually, despite all the Pakistan slip-ups, gave the Indian scorecard 85 crucial runs. Eventually, India succeeded not only in keeping their record against Pakistan intact, but also dropping their home semi-final jinx. Then came the 2nd of April. Where were you that day? A day that meant so much to each and every individual in the Indian team. But just imagine being Tendulkar on that morning. 22nd year of cricket at the highest level. One final chance at finishing your career with a World Cup trophy. That too on the soil on which you learned the game, where you were a ball boy in 1987. No wonder that the entire Indian squad so badly wanted to win it for him. But while the emotion was high, the presence of Dhoni and Kirsten ensured it didn't boil over. There was belief that it was a job that the team was well prepared for. Well, it showed from ball one. Zaheer Khan, who had some demons to bury, remember, from Johannesburg 2003, gave India just the start they needed this time around. The team pounced on everything in the field as if their lives depended on it. And then when the time came for the target to be chased, Gautam Gambhir in his usual no-nonsense approach steadied the innings. Then seeing Muralitharan in operation, Captain Dhoni decided to take him on, and as we know, the ploy worked. And then amidst the chants of Vande Mataram that Dhoni has talked about so much, he finished it off in style, as Ravi said, to give Team India their 2nd World Cup trophy, a moment that the country had been waiting for 28 years. 14 years on, the scenes from that night at the Wankhede are still fresh in everyone's memories. So what changed in Indian cricket as a result of this special, but dare I say inevitable win? Some might say, well, not much, since India endured a winless tour of England in the following months. Several names from the winning 11 in their final met the end of their careers soon. And the win didn't lead to the start of some sort of streak as it happened with Australia in 1999. But somewhere, one little change whose value has grown over the last so many years was that India were finally able to call themselves world champions again. And that, trust me, was a massive change. Well, now that I've taken you on the walk down memory lane, tell me as an answer to my question today, which was the only team that defeated India in the 2011 World Cup? So thanks for watching, and do subscribe to this channel.